Of Rahul Gandhi. Let's play out for you that particular sequence of Harish Rawat as he's speaking to the media while being detained.
Media please, media please,
And we're cutting across to live images coming in right now from the national capital, where Prime Minister Modi is inaugurating the BJP swanky new residential complex as well as auditorium. This is in fact right next to and right in front of the BJP headquarters on Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg in Delhi. This complex that you see on your screens that the Prime Minister is unveiling right now will be used for big party meetings for senior campaign leaders of the party. This is Prime Minister Narendra Modi there unveiling the residential complex, accompanied by BJP President JP Nadda, Home Minister Amit Shah, the who's who of the BJP currently present for this grand unveiling. You've got, in fact, all of them present for this inauguration event. And this building, this residential complex, which also houses a massive auditorium, is right opposite the BJP headquarters. Now, in fact, the Prime Minister, we're being told, is also going to be participating in the Bhumi Pujan program for the BJP Delhi State Office. That's also, in fact, very close to the BJP headquarters. These are the live images that we're getting to you right now of BJP Chief JP Nadda and Prime Minister Narendra Modi making their way through the new residential complex, unveiling this massive building along with the auditorium that has been, in fact, constructed right opposite the BJP headquarters. You can see all the senior BJP leaders in attendance for this particular moment. We understand that all of your high-stake meetings for elections, your massive party gatherings, they will take place right now in this residential complex. So get set to see a lot of live images that come in from this residential complex in the run-up to 2024. So this will also have an auditorium, which is what it looks like the Prime Minister is making his way towards, accompanied there by BJP President JP Nadda. The entire area is packed, the hall completely full with BJP leaders, all of whom have gathered. It's expected that the Prime Minister could also speak at this event. Earlier today, there was a huddle of the BJP in which, in fact, the Prime Minister also, in fact, directed the BJP on how to take forward the election fight. But let's focus on these live images of the Bhumi Pujan that is going to be kicking off. This is for the state BJP office in the national capital. Let's in fact see if there's an audio that we can cut across to right now. All right, we'll connect with our reporter in just a bit and get you those live updates that are coming in right now from the venue. This is the residential complex of the BJP, right opposite the BJP headquarters. And you can see that the Prime Minister there is taking part in the puja that's being conducted right now in the premises. Aishwarya Paliwal is joining us with more details on this. Aishwarya, a brand new swanky residential complex for the BJP. We can see the Prime Minister right now conducting the puja at the location.
Well, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister Amit Shah and all the top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party, along with some of the very enthusiastic, Karyakartas, as you can see in the back, the chants that are taking place, all these chants are taking place because the Karyakartas at the moment are very, very happy. Let me tell you what's taking place inside the building that you see right behind me with the Party flags. That's the building in which the Prime Minister at the moment is, and this is a swanky new building, Akshita, right opposite the main headquarters of the BJP on the DDU mark. So a very prominent location. The chants, Akshita, if you can hear, are the chants from the Karyakartas, the BJP Karyakartas who are present at the spot, they are chanting Narendra Modi and they are also chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai. And inside is the place where, you know, the top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Akshita, are sitting. So definitely this is a milestone because this entire building is for the people who work for the Bharatiya Janata Party. And the Prime Minister, in fact, when he came inside, he also met the people who built this building. So that's also something that the Prime Minister did. And in just a couple of minutes from now, Akshita, we will see the puja taking place. This is a swanky new buildings. From what we understand, there are close to 50 rooms where people will be allowed to come and stay. And apart from that, there will also be a lot of centers inside this building, bang opposite the headquarters of the BJP, Akshita.
Okay, so the puja right now, Aishwarya, we can tell you, is happening as we speak. You can see the Prime Minister as well as BJP President JP Nadda there taking part in the Bhumi Pujan that's underway. We're also hearing, Aishwarya, that besides this residential complex, a brand new Delhi BJP office is also being inaugurated. This is for the state BJP.
Well, because, you know, the old office was a little away from where the main headquarters is, and that's the reason, keeping in mind the big 2025 elections, that's the time when there will be an election in the national capital. So keeping all those things in mind, the BJP has now decided to give space in this very complex to Delhi BJP. And also, you know, why it's very important, Akshita, because the main office of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the swanky headquarters, is just across the road from here. So everything will be close by, and all this is also being done keeping the big 2024 elections in mind, so that everything is very closely knit. That's the reason. I don't know, Akshita, if you can hear, you know, the chants are taking place right behind me. A lot of Karyakartas inside, you know, chanting Prime Minister Narendra Modi's name, and the top brass of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the top leaders, including Home Minister Amit Shah, also inside at the moment. And the puja has begun. We expect the puja to go on for almost half an hour. After that, the Prime Minister will speak with the top leaders, and then, you know, slowly this building finally will be opened. From tomorrow, we will see work taking place inside the swanky building in the national capital. All these things are being done, keeping the big 2024 elections in mind, Akshita.
So if you've seen the BJP headquarters in the national capital, it's a huge, imposing building in Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Marg, and bang opposite it is now this residential complex, this massive auditorium. For the bigger events, we're being told, Aishwarya, when senior leaders gather, when you have these BJP national, nationwide meets that happen, that will now be shifted from the BJP headquarters to this auditorium and residential complex that the Prime Minister is inaugurating. Aishwarya, if you can hear me, you know, right opposite the BJP headquarters where you're standing is where this residential complex is. And what we're hearing is that the mega party huddles in the run-up to 2024 is now going to be shifted from the BJP headquarters and will take place in this massive auditorium.
Well, actually, definitely, you know, all these things are being done, keeping the big 2024 elections in mind. From what we understand, apart from the rooms, there are also places where research will take place. So definitely what the BJP is doing, and we did see how the Prime Minister also spoke about just 400 days left, almost 2 months back. So the BJP very well on war footing, and that's the reason why we are seeing all these kind of things being done. And the reason why this particular spot was chosen, this spot is just, you know, opposite the BJP headquarters. That's the reason why we are seeing this swanky new building. Also, from what we understand, a lot of tech things will also be done in this building. That's the reason why Prime Minister himself has been roaming about. In fact, you know, when he stepped in from building to building, he went inside. There are 4 buildings, let me tell you, you know, Akshata, the one which is right behind me, the big one which is there, and there's another building, the one where there are almost 50 rooms. Now, the 50 rooms are kept because there are many people who will want to work for the Bharatiya Janata Party. That's what the party at the moment believes, that there'll be people from across the country who would want to come and stay in the national capital. Because people want to come and stay, that's the reason why an entire building, almost 50 single rooms have been made for the people who will come from across the country, and they will start working for the Bharatiya Janata Party just before 2024 elections. Keeping all these things in mind is the reason why we are seeing, you know, the puja also taking place, and Prime Minister himself taking out time and coming to this swanky new building. Akshata.
Very true. And Aishwarya giving us details about this massive complex. 50 rooms in all, besides this massive auditorium in which you see all of the BJP leaders currently seated as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with the BJP chief, performing the puja. After that, they're going to be making their way onto the stage there at the auditorium. auditorium, and then you're going to be perhaps hearing what the Prime Minister also has to say about his vision for the BJP going forward. Very crucial messaging, no doubt, with in fact the 2024 elections, with the state polls also this year, Karnataka elections of course just about a month away. So this BJP complex is going to be used for a lot of election huddles. Have no doubt in your mind, this is just the beginning of many more such images that we'll be beaming for you live from the BJP residential complex right opposite the BJP headquarters as well. This will be used for massive nationwide meets that the BJP occasionally holds as well. Their election huddles for which their leadership also travels down from different states to the national capital. That's why you've got the who's who of the BJP right now seated in that auditorium. And outside, BJP cadre have gathered in great numbers to celebrate this moment and also join the Prime Minister in inaugurating this massive complex. So at the BJP headquarters, you've got huge crowds that have gathered right now. Aishwarya, why don't you speak to some of the cadre there about what really the mood is like on ground?
Well, Akshita, I would have loved to do that, but unfortunately, for the media, there's a closed enclosure, and the people who have been called the Karyakartas are on the other side because of very strict protocol. We are not allowed to move outside the area which has been given to us. But, I'll ask Sachin to pan and to show you on the other side. You see all the people, and there's a big screen, Akshita, which has been put up because even the Karyakartas are not allowed to go inside where the puja at the moment is taking place. So the Karyakartas also at the moment, Akshita, are seeing what's taking place. The puja is being witnessed by all the Karyakartas who have come on the big screen, and the chants that you are hearing, Akshita, are of the Karyakartas who have turned up in large numbers to witness this new swanky building of the BJP. Unfortunately for the media at the moment, Akshita, because of the protocol, we have this enclosure where we are standing, because of which we cannot go on to the other side. But a lot of Karyakartas, let me tell you, Akshita, on the other side, and the chants that you hear, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Prime Minister, the chants for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all these things are being done at the moment. And also on the screen, Akshita, we can see the puja, at the moment still taking place, Prime Minister taking part in this puja. From what we understand at the moment, the puja will continue for almost 15 to 20 minutes, and then the Prime Minister will speak with the top brass and all the leaders of the BJP and speak about the upcoming elections and also what needs to be done for the big 2024 elections. Akshita.
There was also a similar huddle that happened earlier today, Aishwarya, in which the Prime Minister, also speaking to the BJP leaders, to the senior leadership, sent out a message of what he believes should be the agenda for the BJP in the run-up to the 2024 election. So I think after this pujan also, after the Bhumi Pujan that you see on your screens, when he interacts with senior leaders, when he interacts with all the BJP workers gathered there, it's going to be a similar message that he sends across.
Well, definitely, we are also seeing what's taking place in the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha every day. So that's also something, Akshata, that the Prime Minister will be speaking with the top leaders. How to go about things, in the next couple of days is also something that they will be focusing on. The elections that will take place at the year end, the, 3 very crucial states, that's also something that we understand Prime Minister will be speaking with. And a special emphasis, is being done on the OBCs. That's also something that the Prime Minister will be speaking with the leaders. We understand there will be a lot of leaders, from the OBC, which are at the moment inside. The Prime Minister will also speak with them because it's not just the Hindus that the Bharatiya Janata Party, Akshata, at the moment is looking at. They are looking at making sure that there is a rainbow of voters for the Bharatiya Janata Party for the elections this year and also the big elections in 2024. All those things will be discussed, and obviously it's a happy occasion for the BJP, a swanky new building, new rooms. So this will also be used by the Prime Minister and also by Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah. Also, he reached a couple of minutes early and then, he went, strolled around the building, saw what took place, and then Amit Shah, in fact, briefed Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We saw JP Nadda also along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the top brass, very happy at the moment with the kind of building that has come up. And the way to go forward, because for the BJP, it is less than 400 days now, Akshita, and they are on a war footing. They want to make sure. We have seen how some of the top leaders of the BJP have made claims that there is a possibility they might get on their own 350 or maybe 400 seats this time. That's the mission with which the BJP is going. So all those things will be discussed in detail. And since all the top leaders of the BJP at the moment are present inside, after the Bhumi Pujan, we will see the Prime Minister holding some kind of an informal meeting with the leaders and speaking about what needs to be done next. Akshita.
And these are live images that we're showing you right now. The Bhumi Puja is complete. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and JP Nadda have made their way onto the stage at this new residential complex, at this auditorium as well. You can see that there are in fact senior BJP leaders who are currently on the stage along with the Prime Minister. We are going to be cutting across live for you and getting those latest updates. You can see in fact that Home Minister Amit Shah is also on stage. You've got JP Nadda, Nitin Gadkari, all of them there, the senior most BJP leaders who've come together there for this particular inauguration. And let's get you these live images. You can see the inauguration now taking place with the traditional lighting of the lamp. Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with senior Margdarshak of the BJP, Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi on stage. JP Nadda now lighting the lamp as is the tradition. Next is Home Minister Amit Shah. Let's cut across live.
श्रीमती शबाना रहमान गायन करेंगी। आप सभी से आग्रह है खड़े होकर वंदे मातरम का गायन करें। वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, सुजलाम सुफलाम मलयज शीतलाम शस्य श्यामलाम मातरम, वंदे मातरम, शुभ्र ज्योत्स्ना पुलकित यामिनी, फुल्लकुसुमिता द्रुमदल शोभिनी, सुहासिनी सुमधुर भाषिणी, सुखदाम वरदाम मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम। भारत माता की, भारत माता की। जैसा कि हमारी संस्कृति में है, हम वरिष्ठ जनों का सम्मान करते हैं किसी भी शुभ कार्यक्रम में। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के, युग पुरुष प्रधानमंत्री जी के सम्मान के लिए विश्व की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष माननीय नड्डा जी से आग्रह करूंगी कि वो अंग वस्त्र और पुष्प गुच्छ देकर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का सम्मान करें। स्वागत करिए। दिल्ली प्रदेश के अध्यक्ष वीरेंद्र सचदेवा जी से आग्रह है कि हमारी पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष माननीय नड्डा जी का स्वागत करें अंग वस्त्र और पुष्प गुच्छ देकर। हमारे पूर्व अध्यक्ष और पूर्व मंत्री वयोवृद्ध नेता मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी के स्वागत के लिए प्रदेश के महामंत्री हर्ष मल्होत्रा जी से आग्रह करूंगी कि अंग वस्त्र और पुष्प गुच्छ देकर माननीय मुरली मनोहर जी का स्वागत करें। करतल ध्वनि से स्वागत करिए हमारे वरिष्ठ गणों का। राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष और वर्तमान गृह मंत्री जिन्होंने एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के स्वप्न को साकार किया है, माननीय अमित शाह जी के स्वागत के लिए मैं आग्रह करूंगी जय प्रकाश जी को, जो पूर्व मेयर हैं दिल्ली के। राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष और वर्तमान परिवहन मंत्री जिन्होंने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का जाल पूरे देश में बिछा दिया है, माननीय नितिन गडकरी जी के स्वागत के लिए मैं आग्रह करूंगी प्रदेश के उपाध्यक्ष राजीव बब्बर जी से। विकासवाद को सेंटर में लाने वाले और देश के विकास की अवधारणा को नई परिभाषा देने वाले सर्वसमावेशी समृद्ध भारत के निर्माण को संकल्पबद्ध माननीय युग पुरुष वैश्विक नेता मोदी जी से आग्रह करूंगी, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से निवेदन करूंगी कि केंद्रीय कार्यालय विस्तार का डिजिटली लोकार्पण करें। बजाकर स्वागत करिए इस ऐतिहासिक पल का। केंद्रीय कार्यालय विस्तार के पर एक फिल्म का प्रस्तुतिकरण है 5 मिनट की, उस फिल्म का अभी प्रस्तुतिकरण चालू है। आज हम सब सहभागी हैं उस ऐतिहासिक पल के। एक छोटी फिल्म है इस
और विचारों का
विस्तार का।
पार्टी की यात्रा में कितने ही कठिन पड़ाव आए, संघर्ष का दौर चला।
So, film currently being played there at the BJP residential complex. We'll continue getting you those updates and much more on the other side of a very short break.
ईडी, सीबीआई, इनकम टैक्स जैसी एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है और लगातार विपक्ष के नेताओं को इस पर निशाना बनाया जा रहा है। इस पर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये सारी एजेंसियां, कोई एजेंसी कोर्ट के ऊपर नहीं है। किसी भी नोटिस को भी आप कोर्ट में चैलेंज कर सकते हैं। 1, किसी भी एफआईआर को कोर्ट में चैलेंज कर सकते हैं। 2, और किसी भी चार्जशीट को भी कोर्ट में चैलेंज कर रहे हैं। 3, भाई कोर्ट में जाने की जगह यहाँ पर हो हल्ला कर क्या होगा? और बहुत हमारी पार्टी में तो कम है, उनकी पार्टी में ढेर सारे अच्छे वकील हैं।
traveling from different parts.
Armed with facts,
Looking at political back.
she takes the news by its horns.
Do you think the future of these students are not hampered?
Fierce, bold, and direct, setting the tone for the biggest stories from every corner and every angle. Expect nothing but the unfiltered truth.
News first, niceties later. Watch me, Nabila Jamal, on India Today.
The story of Lakshmi is a source of inspiration. Despite frugal means, Lakshmi has built a business she's proud of. But it did not come easy. After working in a wide array of jobs, Lakshmi got headlong into the dry cleaning and ironing business. She now caters to over 300 families.
ये हमारा जो प्रोफेशन है वो फैमिली बिजनेस है। मेरे हस्बैंड प्राइवेट सेक्टर में जॉब करते थे। जब लॉकडाउन लगा तो उनकी वो जॉब छूट गई थी। तो ये फैमिली बिजनेस था, हाथ का हुनर था, तो मैंने एक बार बाहर आजमाने की कोशिश की। शुरू में 16 किलोमीटर ड्राइव करके जाना बहुत काफ़ी ऐसा लगता था, पता नहीं कितना दूर जंगल में आना पड़ रहा है।
With all her hard work and dedication, Lakshmi soon took a shop on rent in a housing complex in Jaipur. She has employed 3 people to help her. Lakshmi has not only managed to build a profitable business, she has also given hope and aspirations to her children.
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मम्मी पापा दोनों काम करते हैं हमारे लिए, और मेरा भाई और मैं मतलब अच्छे से पढ़ पाते हैं उस वजह से। मम्मी और पापा बिजनेस करते हैं और इतना दूर जाते हैं, तो हमें बहुत सपोर्ट मिलता है उन दोनों से।
Lakshmi's elder son is pursuing B.Tech and dreams of joining the Indian Navy after graduation. Her younger son plans to open a cafe.
39-year-old Lakshmi is no less than a superwoman for her family. Despite frugal means and the initial hardship, through her grit and perseverance, Lakshmi has managed to put the family business on the path to progress and given her children the hope and the aspiration to dream big. With camera person Nikhil Devankur Vadhavan in Jaipur for India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
The all-new Red Dark Edition by Tata Motors.
Let's get you, in fact, the latest updates on the massive protest that's taking place outside the Red Fort in Delhi over Rahul Gandhi's disqualification. Congress leaders have hit the streets, and you see those images on your screens of all of the leaders being detained, including senior Congress leader Harish Rawat, who's been taken into custody. Congress has now tweeted saying dictators scared of Satyagraha, and that's why our workers are being detained.
ये लोकतंत्र की हत्या है। हमको मशाल जुलूस नहीं निकालने दिया गया। हमने मशालें जलाई, अपने कपड़े निकाल के रुमालें लगा करके मशालें जलाई, जिनको पुलिस ने बलात् बुझाने का काम किया। मगर हम दिल की मशाल जला करके जो है ये जहां ले जाएं, जो भी जुल्म करे, इस जुल्म से लड़ेंगे। भारत का प्रतिपक्ष जिंदाबाद, राहुल गांधी जिंदाबाद।
Ashutosh Mishra is joining us live right now from outside the Red Fort. Ashutosh, take us through what's happening there. We can see the multiple Congress leaders have now been detained.
You know, it's totally high voltage drama. The Congress workers, senior leaders plan to carry out a protest here, a mashal protest, a torch protest at Delhi's Red Fort. But much before they could reach, the Delhi police barricaded this entire area and prevented all of them from reaching at least 200 meters away from the Red Fort main. There you now see who's being detained is Ajay Rai, the former Congress chief of Uttar Pradesh. Now he's being detained. So far we have seen JP Agrawal being detained. Harish Rawat, the former Uttarakhand chief minister, has been detained, and around 100 of these Congress workers, one after one, being detained. Everyone who tried to reach to the Red Fort area. A few minutes ago we had P. Chidambaram, the former home minister, here. Of course, he wasn't allowed to reach to Red Fort. Then he left. Adhir Ranjan Chowdhury, another Congress leader from West Bengal. So many member of parliaments, including Kerala, they all are here. And everyone now there you see being detained. We are beaming live images from Red Fort, where the Congress planned to carry out a torch protest over the current issue revolving around Rahul Gandhi. And as we see the protests triggering from street to parliament, there you see these Congress leaders are being detained. In fact, they tried to lit the torch, but clearly there was no permission from the Delhi police. And of course, Red Fort area, you cannot carry out such protests. There are usually no permission given. But for now, since police barricaded, there is a massive traffic, totally jam-packed, choked this entire area. In fact, the people who are roaming around and the plans to visit this particular stretch, they are using this particular stretch to going home. Clearly, they should avoid, because this is totally jam-packed because of the multi-level barricading placed by Delhi police. But for now, you see in these images, high-voltage drama. Ajay Rai Lallu, the former UP Congress chief, is being detained. Another side, look at this, how these barricading have been placed. Multi-level barricading is being done by Delhi police. The CRPF company has been placed here, and there you see this is the huge. In fact, many of these buses who were taking these Congress workers, supporters and leader to the nearby police station, these workers clearly obstructed even the police buses. They literally resisted and protested, and they did not allow these buses to go. There you see these leaders have been now being taken by Delhi police. So this entire stretch you see, many leaders from many parts of the country, the Congress senior leaders who tried to reach at this pocket. Of course, there was one information that Priyanka Gandhi will be reaching here, Mallikarjun Kharge. But before anyone, those top leaders, those senior most leaders could reach here from the party, here already the detention begins from Delhi police. There you see these images, the Congress workers now being detained, have been taken to the police station.
Permission denied, Ashutosh? Was permission denied for this protest?
Unfolding at Delhi's. Well, of course, since the permission was denied, and of course they informed the police, it wasn't about seeking a permission to carry out protests at Red Fort. Remember, this is a totally busiest, one of the most busiest stretch, and usually there is no permission given to carry out a protest or a torch protest from Red Fort to the town hall area, which was sought by the Congress party. And because of that, looking at the protest, this is one of the most busiest road. Delhi police barricaded this entire stretch, and because of this barricading, more than an hour, there have been literally massive traffic. Now they're just opening one of these stretch and gradually, of course, easing out the traffic. But clearly the Delhi police did not allow any of these Congress leaders or workers to go to the Red Fort. So of course, the police did not allow them to carry out protests, the torch protests for now. So of course we see as the protesters now being gradually evacuated in these buses, they are being detained, they are being taken to the nearby police station. So gradually we will see this stretch gonna be open, of course, for the traffic, soon vehicular movement. But for now you see this is totally stalled. If I could just beam out these images from here, there you see the traffic. This total stretch is now jam-packed, and of course the protest from here where we are at the moment, just 200 meters where there is a main gate of the Red Fort area usually, which is the place of entry and which is usually believed to be for the gathering. But since the gathering wasn't permitted by Delhi police official, there you see the CRP, the senior most official, the DCP, the area ACP, everyone here, and all they just prevented from these Congress leaders and workers to reach at Red Fort area. Now what we see, almost the protest is now over, since most of these leaders have been either detained or they have gone back home. Now the police is just expediting this evacuation process, the detention process. Everyone is around here now being taken away by the Delhi police. Akshita.
Ashutosh Mishra there reporting from the ground and getting us all of those latest updates. You can see all of the senior Congress leaders who are now being detained as we speak, as permission was denied for this particular protest. But then if permission was denied, Ashutosh, the Delhi police will then pass the buck and put the blame on the Congress, saying we didn't give permission and yet you chose to gather here outside Red Fort.
Well, usually we see, the section 144 is often used by the law enforcement agencies when it comes to the gathering or to carry out protests. And as I said, the Red Fort, this particular stretch is one of the most busiest. We have the very famous Chandni Chowk market here, Chavdi Bazaar here, Kashmiri Gate, all these connectivity areas. So usually there is no permission to carry out a protest. And since there was no permission, usually we see many other places, if you seek a permission, you remember all opposition parties were trying to march from Parliament to Enforcement Directorate Office. Section 144 was imposed. There was no permission. So clearly that is one tool that the police agency used, because there was no permission to carry out march. They were contained at this almost 200 meters from the main gate of the Red Fort area by putting these barricades, multi-level barricading at both sides. So they were quite confined and restricted at one particular stage. So they see the most of now these very few leaders have left, since most of these workers and other leaders being detained. So of course they are still reluctant and they still want to reach Red Fort area, carrying out the torch rally, the torch protest, Mashal Julus. But since the permission wasn't given, the Delhi police did not even allow them to reach. Though the very few now I can see carrying out a banner and poster in support of Rahul Gandhi. So more than you see the carry out any specific protest, what it is seen as a symbolic protest, that you are raising voice against the government, you are raising voice over the particular issue that you were raising. And moreover, this symbolism comes out when you see the unity of all your party leaders together. No matter at very other occasion you've been criticizing certain policies, but when it comes to the Rahul Gandhi, his disqualification, asking him to vacate bungalow. So this entire issue that surrounding Rahul Gandhi, there we see quite unity not only within the Congress party, but also even the arch rivals like the TMC, like the Aam Aadmi Party and several other coming together. So that has somewhere given big arms and strengthened the arms of the Congress party. And there we see from Parliament, we're seeing all these Congress leaders and other opposition leaders are wearing black clothes. And here on street, different occasions, we are seeing these protests. So this has been happening for quite 3-4 days. And here they plan to carry out a torch protest from Red Fort to Town Hall, one of the most iconic places. And remember, Red Fort is very famous. When we've seen from the Red Fort on every 15th August, we see the Prime Minister, different Prime Ministers have been addressing the nation. So this has a symbolic message in the protest to carry out. At least you are reaching here, giving out a message. But when it comes to law enforcement agency, there are of course different rules. They have to maintain the law and order, they have to maintain the traffic. But yes, as far as giving message through this protest is concerned, that is somewhere reached. They tried to reach at Red Fort. They tried to carry out a protest march which wasn't allowed, and at least they gave they were finally taken to the police station. They were detained. Harish Rawat in fact said, if they are going to arrest me, let them arrest. And of course many of them who were somehow reached here now being detained. Okay. And now we see that quite area is under control. There is no absolute no reason to worry about situation, law and order. Everything remained calm. It was a symbolic protest.
Okay, so the Congress leaders who gathered there have in fact been detained. The protest has ended. Ashutosh, thank you for getting us that ground report. Let's move on to the other big political story of the day, the showdown over Rahul Gandhi's comments on Savarkar. It's led to a political storm in Maharashtra. Rahul Gandhi's taunt has left a deep split between, in fact, the Congress and their own allies. You've had Uddhav Thackeray making it very clear he's upset with Rahul Gandhi, and it's led to the intervention directly of NCP chief Sharad Pawar. Pawar reportedly has spoken to the Gandhis, and Rahul has been told not to go ahead and make such comments against Savarkar again.
राहुल गांधी सोचता है मेरा नाम सावरकर नहीं है, मेरा नाम गांधी है. गांधी किसी से माफी नहीं मांगता.
From the BJP to the Savarkar clan to even Rahul Gandhi's own political allies, they're all breathing fire on Rahul over this comment. Days after Rahul Gandhi's Savarkar salvo, the outrage refuses to die down, and it's fueled a full-fledged campaign in support of Savarkar's legacy. The ruling BJP Shiv Sena coalition launched a We Are Savarkar campaign, and leading from the front was Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who even changed his Twitter profile photo.
ऐसे सावरकर जी का अपमान कोई सहन नहीं करेगा, इसलिए मैंने कल भी धिक्कार राहुल गांधी का किया है, आज भी मैं धिक्कार कर रहा हूँ, आज भी मैं उनका निषेध करता हूँ और ये राज्य की जनता सावरकर देशभक्त का अपमान नहीं सहन करेगा।
These posters have come up in several suburban areas of Mumbai. These posters have been put up by Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha, and these posters are a clear indication that the political heat and temperature is only going to rise in the days to come. Politically and otherwise, Rahul Gandhi is facing massive pressure to apologize for his comment. Savarkar's grandson has now shot off this warning to Rahul Gandhi.
Everybody knows he is not a Savarkar, because a Bitteldung cannot be a son. It is, everybody knows it. Bitteldung is always a Bitteldung. He cannot be a son. So whatever Rahul Gandhi is doing now is a very childish, and above all it is for his political gain. So using the names of patriots to promote your politics is a very wrong thing. It is a deplorable thing, and I demand action on it.
But the biggest salvo has come from Rahul's own allies, the Uddhav Sena faction, and even NCP chief Sharad Pawar. After Uddhav Thackeray made it clear that they will not tolerate any insult to the Hindutva ideologue, his Member of Parliament Sanjay Raut claimed the support of Sharad Pawar as well.
वीर सावरकर के बारे में हमेशा हमारे दिल में एक श्रद्धा की भावना रही है, तो बार बार उनका इस प्रकार से उल्लेख करना कि माफी मांगी ये गलत है, और डेफिनेटली हम ये मानते हैं कि वीर सावरकर जी का अपमान नहीं होना चाहिए।
The Uddhav faction also showed their displeasure by giving the opposition huddle in Parliament a skip, a clear indication that Rahul's comment could have far-reaching consequences for the Congress and any talk of opposition unity. Rahul Gandhi fired this very Savarkar salvo months ago during the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
अगर वो डरते नहीं, वो इसको कभी नहीं साइन करते, और इस सिग्नेचर में धोखा था। जब उन्होंने ये साइन किया, वो हिंदुस्तान के जो सब नेता थे, महात्मा गांधी, सरदार पटेल, उन सबको उन्होंने धोखा किया, और उन्होंने उनको कहा कि देखो तुम गलत कर रहे हो, तुम्हें भी साइन कर देना चाहिए। मैं सच्चाई बोलता हूं।
But it looks like he's learned no lessons from the outrage it triggered back then and the Mahadangal it's kicked off now. With Pankaj Upadhyay in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining us here on To The Point on India Today is Savarkar's grandson, Mr. Ranjit Savarkar, who's taken offense to what Rahul Gandhi has said. Mr. Ranjit Savarkar, Rahul Gandhi so far has refused to apologize. But tell us first what you make of his comment. Before that, let's cut across live right now to Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking at the newly launched residential complex.
के मार्गदर्शक डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी, पार्टी के अन्य सभी पदाधिकारी, सभी सम्मानित साथी कार्यकर्तागण, देवी और सज्जनों, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के केंद्रीय कार्यालय के विस्तार की देश भर के भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं को बहुत बहुत बधाई। दो 2018 में जब मैं कार्यालय का लोकार्पण करने के लिए आया था, तो कहा था कि इस कार्यालय की आत्मा हमारा कार्यकर्ता है। आज जब हम इस कार्यालय का विस्तार कर रहे हैं, तो ये भी केवल एक भवन का विस्तार नहीं है, बल्कि ये प्रत्येक भाजपा कार्यकर्ता के सपनों का विस्तार है। भाजपा के सेवा के संकल्प का विस्तार है। मैं पार्टी के उन कोटि कोटि कार्यकर्ताओं के चरणों में प्रणाम करता हूं। मैं पार्टी के सभी संस्थापक सदस्यों को भी सर झुका करके नमन करता हूं। साथियों, आज से कुछ दिन बाद हमारी पार्टी अपना 44वां स्थापना दिवस मनाएगी। ये यात्रा एक अनथक और अनवरत यात्रा है। ये यात्रा परिश्रम की पराकाष्ठा की यात्रा है। ये यात्रा समर्पण और संकल्पों की शिखर की यात्रा है। ये यात्रा विचार और विचारधारा के विस्तार की यात्रा है। और ये यात्रा, ये विस्तार अपने आप में बहुत ही प्रेरणादायी है। आपको याद होगा, भारतीय जनसंघ ने दिल्ली के अजमेरी गेट के पास एक छोटे से ऑफिस से अपनी यात्रा शुरू की थी। उस समय हम देश के लिए बहुत बड़े सपने देखने वाले छोटी सी पार्टी थे। सपने बड़े थे, दल छोटा था। 1980 में जब भाजपा का जन्म हुआ, तब कुछ समय के लिए 10 राजेंद्र प्रसाद मार्ग पार्टी का ऑफिस बन गया था और उसी जगह पे पहले अपने नानाजी देशमुख रहते थे। बहुत से कार्यकर्ताओं को 11 अशोका रोड पार्टी ऑफिस के रूप में याद होगा। इसके भी काफी समय बाद पार्टी ऑफिस दीनदयाल उपाध्याय मार्ग पर शिफ्ट हुआ। एक तरह से हमारी पार्टी की प्रगति का प्रतीक है। इस दौरान कितने ही उतार चढ़ाव आए। हम तो वो दल है जिसने इमरजेंसी के दौरान लोकतंत्र की रक्षा के लिए खुद अपने दल को ही देश हित में आहूत करने पर हमने हिम्मत के साथ कदम उठाया। फिर सन 84 में जो हुआ, देश कभी भी उस काले पृष्ठ को भूल नहीं सकती है। और उसके बाद जो चुनाव हुआ, कांग्रेस को ऐतिहासिक बहुमत मिला था। भावनाओं से भरा हुआ वो माहौल, एक इमोशनली चार्ज एटमॉस्फियर, और उस आंधी में हम भी लगभग पूरी तरह से खत्म हो गए थे। लेकिन हम हताश नहीं हुए। हम निराश नहीं हुए। हमने किसी और में दोष ढूंढने की कोशिश नहीं की। आरोप प्रत्यारोप के चक्कर में हम नहीं पड़े। हम चले गए फिर एक बार जनता जनार्दन के बीच। हमने जमीन पे काम किया। हमने अपने संगठन को मजबूत किया और तब जाकर आज हम यहां पहुंचे हैं। लोकसभा सीटों के साथ शुरू हुआ सफर 2019 में 303 सीटों तक पहुंच गया। आज कई राज्यों में हमें 50% से ज्यादा वोट मिलते हैं। आज उत्तर से दक्षिण तक, पश्चिम से पूरब तक भाजपा एकमात्र पैन इंडिया पार्टी है। परिवार के कब्जे वाली पार्टियां, फैमिली रन पार्टियों के बीच भाजपा ऐसा राजनीतिक दल है जो युवाओं को आगे आने के लिए बहुत अवसर देता है, खुला मैदान देता है। आज भारत की माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों का आशीर्वाद जिस पार्टी के साथ है, उस पार्टी का नाम है भारतीय जनता पार्टी। और साथियों, आज भाजपा केवल विश्व की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी नहीं है, बल्कि भाजपा भारत के सबसे फ्यूचरिस्टिक पार्टी है। हमारा एक ही लक्ष्य है, भविष्य के आधुनिक और विकसित भारत का निर्माण करना। और इसलिए हमें खुद अपने लिए भी भविष्य के लक्ष्य निर्धारित करने ही होंगे। इसके लिए हमारे पास आधुनिक सोच भी होनी चाहिए, आधुनिक संसाधन भी होने चाहिए। हमें भाजपा को एक ऐसी संस्था के रूप में विकसित करना है जिसके पास अगले 10 साल, 20 साल, 50 साल के लक्ष्य निर्धारित है। इसके लिए 3 बातें हर कर्तव्यनिष्ठ कार्यकर्ता, हर भाजपा सदस्य के स्वभाव में होना समय की मांग है, देश की जरूरत है। और 3 बातें क्या हैं? एक है अध्ययन, दूसरा है आधुनिकता और तीसरा है विश्व भर से अच्छी बातों को आत्मसात करने की शक्ति। हम आप जानते हैं कि पंडित दीनदयाल जी जहां कहीं जाते थे, किताबें उनके साथ रहती थी। वो प्रवास में भी पढ़ते लिखते रहते थे। उनकी रचनाएं, उनके अध्ययन और बौद्धिक विस्तार की गवाह है। डॉक्टर श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी के अपने घर में तो हजारों किताबें थी। भाजपा कार्यालय की नई बिल्डिंग पार्टी की उस परंपरा का एक केंद्र बनेगी और बननी चाहिए। यहां अध्ययन की व्यवस्था भी है, आधुनिकता भी है और विश्व भर का अनुभव प्राप्त करने की आकांक्षा भी है। मुझे विश्वास है भाजपा का ये आधुनिक कार्यालय निरंतर इन सपनों के लिए, इन संकल्पों के लिए, इस अदम्य इच्छा और उमंग के लिए अविरत प्रेरणा का स्रोत बनेगा। साथियों, हम भाजपा कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए एक गर्व की बात है कि हम सब जिस दल में काम कर रहे हैं, जिस दल के आचार, संस्कार और विचार ने हमें गढ़ा है, उस दल की और उसके कार्यकर्ताओं की आज विश्व भर में चर्चा हो रही है। आज बीजेपी की पहचान दुनिया के सबसे महत्वपूर्ण राजनीतिक दल के तौर पर होने लगी है। आज भाजपा की तुलना दुनिया की उन ऐतिहासिक पार्टियों से होने लगी है जिन्होंने अपने शासनकाल में अपने देश का भाग्य बदल दिया था। ये समय बीते 4-5 दशकों में भाजपा कार्यकर्ताओं के त्याग और तपस्या की वजह से आया है। ये समय भाजपा सरकार के विकास के कार्यों की वजह से आया है। बीजेपी वो दल है जो भारत के महत्व को, भारत के सामर्थ्य को सशक्त करने के एक ही संकल्प को लेकर के चल रहा है। हम सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास के मंत्र को लेकर के आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। और मुझे ये देखकर खुशी होती है कि दुनिया के कई सारे ऐसे नेता, वो हमारी भाषा से परिचित नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी वो ये सबका साथ, सबका विकास मंत्र दोहराने का प्रयास करते हैं। वो अपनी भाषा में उसका अनुवाद भी करते हैं। साथियों, आज हमारा नॉर्थ ईस्ट सबका साथ, सबका विकास के मंत्र का बेहतरीन उदाहरण है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट की आबादी में बहुत विविधता है। वहाँ अलग अलग समुदायों के लोग हैं। आदिवासी और विधायी समुदाय के लोग बहुतायत हैं। इस क्षेत्र के लोग भाजपा पर अभूतपूर्व विश्वास दिखा रहे हैं। आज नॉर्थ ईस्ट में भाजपा के 4 मुख्यमंत्री हैं। 2 अन्य राज्यों में हमारे गठबंधन की सरकारें हैं। इस सफलता का बड़ा श्रेय भाजपा के कार्यकर्ताओं को ही जाता है। भाजपा कार्यकर्ताओं के इसी परिश्रम की वजह से आज दक्षिण भारत में भी दूर दूर तक पार्टी का विस्तार हो रहा है। कर्नाटका में भाजपा इतने वर्षों से मजबूत स्थिति में है। आज भी हम नंबर 1 पार्टी है कर्नाटका में। तेलंगाना में भी लोगों का एकमात्र भरोसा सिर्फ और सिर्फ भाजपा है। आंध्र प्रदेश में लोगों का भाजपा पर विश्वास दिनों दिन बढ़ता चला जा रहा है। तमिलनाडु और केरला में भाजपा हर जिले में, हर बूथ पर दिनों दिन मजबूत हो रही है। एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की भावना के साथ हो रहा भाजपा का ये विस्तार हमें सीटों के मामले में और वोट शेयर के मामले में सफलता की नई ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाएगा। लेकिन साथियों, मैं एक बात और भी कहना चाहता हूं। भाजपा को केवल उसकी प्रेजेंस और प्रभाव से नहीं समझा जा सकता है। भाजपा को जानने के लिए उसके स्वभाव को भी समझना जरूरी है। और भाजपा का स्वभाव है नूतनता, आधुनिकता। नूतनता हमारी निष्ठा है और आधुनिकता हमारी अवधारणा है। इसलिए बीजेपी केवल चुनाव लड़ने और जीतने के सीमित नहीं है। बीजेपी एक व्यवस्था है, बीजेपी एक विचार है, बीजेपी एक संगठन है, बीजेपी एक आंदोलन है। बीजेपी विकास की भी प्रेरणा शक्ति है और बीजेपी बदलाव की भी प्राण शक्ति है। बीजेपी ने सियासत की सोच को बदला है और समावेश के नए मानकों को जन्म दिया है। और इसका एक उदाहरण है भाजपा का सदस्यता अभियान और इसके माध्यम से पार्टी का विस्तार। एक समय था जब हम राज्यों में राज्य स्तर की कमेटी बन जाए तो हम सोच रहे थे कि चलिए उस राज्य में झंडा गाड़ दिया। फिर थोड़ा समय और बीता, कार्यकर्ताओं ने परिश्रम किया, फिर हम हिसाब लगाने लगे कि भाई कितने जिले हैं जहां कमेटी बनी है, कितने जिलों में कमेटी बाकी है, कब पूरा करेंगे। फिर हम एक कदम आगे चले, फिर हम सोचने लगे चलो जिले तो हो गए, बताओ भाई कितने तहसील में कमेटियां बनी हैं, कितने ब्लॉक लेवल पर कमेटियां बनी हैं। फिर शक्ति केंद्र आया, फिर बूथ पर फोकस हुआ और आज हम पन्ना प्रमुख तक पहुंच गए। भाजपा पहली पार्टी है जिसने पार्टी की व्यवस्था में संवैधानिक रूप से महिलाओं के लिए पद की व्यवस्था की है। संविधान के तहत भाजपा पहली ऐसी पार्टी है जो अपने कार्यकर्ताओं को नए अवसर देने के लिए निरंतर तत्पर रहती है। हमने पार्टी की समितियों में, कमेटियों में हर बार 25% नए लोगों को लाने की व्यवस्था शुरू की है। हम कार्यकर्ताओं की इसी ताकत से सत्ता के शिखर तक पहुंचे हैं। लेकिन हम भले ही सत्ता के शिखर पर पहुंचे हो, लेकिन हमारे पांव आज भी उतने ही जमीन पर हैं जितने 1980 में हुआ करते थे। भाजपा में ऐसे कार्यकर्ताओं की बहुत बड़ी फौज है जो कष्ट उठाकर, परेशानी झेलकर, कर्तव्य भावना से लगातार देश सेवा में जुटे रहते हैं। हम जहां भी काम करते हैं सामूहिकता की भावना से काम करते हैं, टीम वर्क के साथ काम करते हैं। भाजपा वो पार्टी है जिसमें मुक्त चिंतन होता है, नए विचार सृजित होते हैं, नए विचारों का सम्मान होता है। चिंतन और अध्ययन करने वाले एक बहुत बड़ा वर्ग हमारे भाजपा परिवार का विशाल विस्तार है, हिस्सा है, वट वृक्ष की भांति है। भाजपा वो पार्टी है जिसमें समाज के अलग अलग वर्गों को प्रतिनिधित्व देने के लिए प्रभावी और क्रियाशील मोर्चे और कमेटियां हैं। भाजपा में हर मोर्चा अपनी सामाजिक भूमिका में सक्रिय भी होता है, प्रभावशाली भी होता है। साथियों, भाजपा की एक और विशेषता है कि हमारी पार्टी समाज के साथ जुड़कर के काम करती है। भाजपा में समाज की सेवा के माध्यम से कार्यकर्ताओं को गढ़ा जाता है। जैसे कि आपने देखा होगा, आजकल भाजपा सांसद अपने क्षेत्र में खेल प्रतियोगिताएं करा रहा है। इनके आयोजन में बड़ी जिम्मेदारी भाजपा के वहां के स्थानीय कार्यकर्ता ही निभा रहे हैं। इसमें देश के लाखों युवाओं को भाग लेने का मौका मिल रहा है। हजारों युवाओं को पदक मिल रहे हैं, उनके लिए आगे बढ़ने के रास्ते खुल रहे हैं और हमें भी क्षेत्र के सामर्थ्य का परिचय होता है। इसी तरह कहीं कोई प्राकृतिक आपदा हो, समाज के सामने कहीं कोई चुनौती आए या फिर रक्तदान जैसे समाज सेवा से जुड़ा अभियान हो, भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता सबसे पहले पहुंचते हैं और सबसे आखिरी तक मोर्चे पर डटे रहते हैं। अभी अध्यक्ष जी बता रहे थे, कोरोना के दौरान हमारी पार्टी के लोगों ने कैसे घर घर जाकर मुफ्त राशन और इलाज पहुंचाने में मदद की। और तब तो पता नहीं था कि जाएंगे तो क्या लेके आएंगे। अगर बीमारी घर में लाए तो जिंदगी खतरे में पड़ जाती थी। फिर भी ये भाजपा का कार्यकर्ता है। आज भाजपा और भाजपा कार्यकर्ताओं का समाज के साथ जो भावात्मक संबंध है, वो आपको किसी और राजनीतिक दल में नजर आएगा कि नहीं आएगा, ये मैं कह नहीं सकता। साथियों, जब हम समाज की सेवा के लिए अपना जीवन खपाते हैं तो सरकार बनाने का अवसर मिलने पर भी ये हमारी प्राथमिकता होता है। इसलिए ही आज पूरे भारत में भाजपा सरकारें आकांक्षा, विकास और प्रगति का पर्याय बन रही है। और ये भाजपा का ब्रांड ऑफ गवर्नेंस है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकार है, वहां गरीब कल्याण के लिए योजनाएं तेज गति से चलने लगती है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां योजनाओं का लाभ लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचाना सुनिश्चित हो जाता है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें, वहां युवा शक्ति को आगे बढ़ने के लिए नए अवसर बनते हैं। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां योजनाओं में महिला सशक्तिकरण को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता मिलने लगती है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां कानून व्यवस्था सुदृढ़ हो जाती है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, ईज ऑफ लिविंग के प्रयास बढ़ने लगते हैं। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का तेजी से विकास होना शुरू हो जाता है। जहां भी भाजपा की सरकारें हैं, वहां विकास और विरासत दोनों साथ साथ चलते हैं। साथियों, मैं समझता हूं अब समय आ गया है कि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज, एकेडमिशियंस और एक्सपर्ट्स भारत के पिछले 75 साल के अलग अलग गवर्नेंस मॉडल्स की कंपैरेटिव स्टडी करें, एनालिसिस करें, देश और दुनिया के सामने रखें। देश ने लंबे समय तक कांग्रेस का एक गवर्नेंस मॉडल देखा है। देश ने कम्युनिस्टों का भी कुछ राज्यों में गवर्नेंस का मॉडल देखा है। देश ने परिवारवादी, फैमिली रन पार्टियों के काम करने का तरीका भी देखा है। अलग अलग गठबंधनों की सरकारों का गवर्नेंस मॉडल भी देश ने देखा है। और देश आज पूर्ण बहुमत वाली भाजपा सरकारों का गवर्नेंस मॉडल भी देख रहा है। एक निश्चित पैरामीटर्स के साथ जब इसकी एनालिसिस होगी तो गवर्नेंस के मॉडल का महत्व समझ में आएगा। देश के सामान्य मानवी को भी पता चलेगा कि गवर्नेंस के किस मॉडल ने देश को क्या दिया, उसके परिणाम क्या निकले और उनके लिए क्या बेहतर रास्ता है। साथियों, आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रत्येक कार्यकर्ता को एक बात समझना बहुत आवश्यक है। देश इस समय जिस कालखंड से गुजर रहा है वो तेज विकास के लिए बहुत अहम है। ये अमृतकाल ये सिर्फ शब्द समूह नहीं है, ये धरती की सच्चाई है। 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की दिलों की धड़कन है। आज हम सबसे युवा देश है, आत्मविश्वास से भरे हुए देश है। पूरे विश्व में दुनिया के बड़े बड़े मंचों पर आज अगर किसी का डंका बज रहा है तो नाम है हिंदुस्तान, वो नाम है भारत। ऐसे में देश के भीतर बैठी और देश के बाहर बैठी भारत विरोधी शक्तियों का एकजुट होना स्वाभाविक है। ये शक्तियां किसी भी तरह भारत से विकास का एक कालखंड छीन लेना चाहती हैं। आज भारत का सामर्थ्य अगर फिर बुलंदी की तरफ जा रहा है तो इसके पीछे हमारी एक मजबूत नींव है। ये नींव हमारी संवैधानिक संस्थाओं की है, हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस की है। इसलिए आज भारत को रोकने के लिए हमारी इस नींव पर चोट की जा रही है, संवैधानिक संस्थाओं पर प्रहार किया जा रहा है, उन्हें बदनाम करने का अभियान छेड़ा जा रहा है। उनकी क्रेडिबिलिटी, उनकी विश्वसनीयता खत्म करने की साजिश की जा रही है। जो लोग भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त है उन पर जब एजेंसियां कार्रवाई करती हैं तो एजेंसियों पर हमला किया जाता है। जब कोर्ट कोई फैसला सुनाता है तो कोर्ट पर सवाल उठाए जाते हैं, न्यायिक प्रणाली पर हमले होते हैं। आप सब देख रहे हैं कुछ दलों ने मिलकर भ्रष्टाचारी बचाओ अभियान छेड़ा हुआ है। आज भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त जितने भी चेहरे हैं वो सब एक साथ एक मंच पर आ रहे हैं। पूरा देश ये देख रहा है, देश समझ रहा है। साथियों, भ्रष्टाचार ने हमारे देश का बहुत नुकसान किया है। दिमक की तरह देश को खोखला किया है भ्रष्टाचार ने। देश की जनता देख रही है कि पहले की सरकारों ने किस तरह भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ कार्रवाई के नाम पर केवल खानापुरी की थी। लेकिन पिछले 9 साल में भाजपा सरकार ने भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ जो अभियान चलाया उसने आज भ्रष्टाचार और भ्रष्टाचारियों दोनों की जड़ें हिला दी है। ये इस बात का प्रमाण है कि जब भाजपा आती है तो भ्रष्टाचार भागता है। मैं आपको कुछ आंकड़े बताना चाहता हूं आज। प्रिवेंशन ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एक्ट यानी पीएमएलए के तहत कांग्रेस की सरकार में यानी साल 2004 से 2014 के बीच 5,000 करोड़ रुपए के आसपास की संपत्ति जब्त की गई थी। 5,000 करोड़। इसी एक्ट के तहत पिछले 9 वर्षों में भाजपा सरकार ने 1,10,000 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की संपत्ति जब्त की है। तहत पहले के मुकाबले 2 गुने से ज्यादा केस रिकॉर्ड किए गए हैं और 15 गुना ज्यादा लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है। हमारे यहां कुछ लोगों ने कांग्रेस शासन के दौरान बैंकों को जमकर के लूटा। बैंकों का करीब 22,000 करोड़ रुपए का नुकसान करके ये लोग विदेश भाग गए। आज भाजपा सरकार ने इन लोगों की करीब करीब 20,000 करोड़ रुपए की संपत्ति जब्त करवा दी है। प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट के तहत पिछले 9 वर्षों में सीबीआई ने लगभग 5,000 केस दर्ज किए हैं। बीजेपी सरकार में भ्रष्टाचार के आरोपों से घिरे हुए सैकड़ों बड़े अधिकारियों को संविधान दिखाया, सरकार के नियम दिखाए और उनको जबरन रिटायर किया गया है, घर भेज दिया गया है और उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई की गई है। साथियों, आजादी के 7 दशकों में पहली बार भ्रष्टाचार पर इस तरह की चोट हो रही है। पूरे देश की जनता आज भ्रष्टाचारियों पर हो रही कार्रवाई से खुश है। आपकी यही जानकारी है ना? मैं जहां जाता हूं लोग यही कहते हैं, मोदी जी रुकना मत। आज हर देशवासी समझता है भ्रष्टाचार रुकेगा तभी देश आगे बढ़ेगा। और जब हम इतना सारा करेंगे तो कुछ लोग तो नाराज होंगे ही होंगे। वो अपना गुस्सा भी निकालेंगे, लेकिन इनके झूठों आरोपों से न देश झुकेगा न भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध कार्रवाई थमने वाली है। साथियों, आपको याद होगा कांग्रेस के नेता कभी कहा करते थे, जनसंघ के जमाने में बड़े बड़े नेता कहते थे जनसंघ को जड़ से उखाड़कर फेंक देंगे। ये उनके बड़े बड़े नेता बोलते थे जी। और आज की कांग्रेस कहती है कि मोदी तेरी कब्र खुदेगी। जनसंघ को मिटाने की, भाजपा को मिटाने की अनेक बार साजिशें हुई और ये तो वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने मुझे भी जेल में डालने के लिए क्या क्या जाल नहीं बिछाई, लेकिन वो पूरी तरह नाकाम रहे। और हम बचे हैं, हम फले हैं, फूले हैं तो जनता जनार्दन के आशीर्वाद से, देशवासियों के प्यार से बढ़े। देशवासियों का अपार प्रेम, यही तो हमारी पूंजी है, यही हमें समर्थन देता है, यही हमें शक्ति देता है। देशवासियों के आशीर्वाद से हम आगे बढ़े हैं, बढ़ रहे हैं और बढ़ते ही रहेंगे। वो देशवासियों के विश्वास से बढ़ने वाले हैं। साथियों, भाजपा ये वो पार्टी नहीं है जो अखबारों से, टीवी स्क्रीन की चमक से पैदा हुई हो। ये भाजपा ट्विटर हैंडलों और यूट्यूब के चैनलों से पैदा नहीं हुई है। ये भाजपा अपने कार्यकर्ताओं के त्याग तपस्या से बनी हुई है। भाजपा जमीन पर काम करके आगे बढ़ी है। भाजपा गांव में, खेत खलिहानों में गरीबों के साथ कंधा से कंधा मिलाकर तप करके आगे बढ़ी है। मुझे बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं, अरे मोदी जी अब सत्ता मिल गई, 2-2 बार प्रधानमंत्री बन गए, अभी भी क्यों इतना दौड़ते रहते हो, क्यों भागते रहते हो? अरे कभी तो मौज करो, आराम करो। लेकिन उन लोगों को पता नहीं है बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता की नियति आराम करना, बैठना, मौज करना हो नहीं सकती। भाजपा के कार्यकर्ता के लिए देश की आशाएं, लोगों की आकांक्षाएं, उनके सपने ही उसकी ड्राइविंग फोर्स होती है। इसी के लिए भाजपा कार्यकर्ता दिन रात दौड़ता है, भागता है, काम करता है, वो रुकता नहीं है, थकता नहीं है, झुकता भी नहीं है। लेकिन साथियों, हमें याद रखना है, हमारी ये लड़ाई आसान नहीं है। भाजपा को डगर डगर पर भ्रष्टाचार से लड़ना है। भाजपा को डगर डगर पर भाई भतीजावाद से लड़ना है। भाजपा को डगर डगर पर संप्रदायवाद से लड़ना है। भाजपा को डगर डगर पर जातिवाद से लड़ना है। भाजपा को डगर डगर पर भारत विरोधी विदेशी ताकतों और उनके इकोसिस्टम से लड़ना है, क्योंकि यही वो चुनौतियां हैं जिन्होंने देश का बहुत बड़ा नुकसान किया है, बहुत समय तक नुकसान किया है। साथियों, बहुत सौभाग्य से, अनेकों के त्याग तपस्या से हमें आजादी के अमृत काल में राष्ट्र की सेवा करने का, राष्ट्र निर्माण करने का अवसर मिला है। हम भारतीयों ने मिलकर 2047 तक, जब आजादी के 100 साल मनाएंगे, तब तक विकसित भारत का लक्ष्य रखा है। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव से लेकर आजादी के 100 वर्ष तक देश की इस यात्रा में प्रत्येक भाजपा कार्यकर्ता को जी तोड़ मेहनत करनी ही करनी है। हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं को लंबी पारी के लिए तैयार करना चाहिए। दल को बनाने में जिस तरह अनेक पीढ़ियां खप गई, उसी तरह देश को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हमें भी अपनी पीढ़ियों को खपाना होगा। साथियों, मैं आपको फरवरी 2018 में इसी कार्यालय में कही हुई अपनी एक बात को आज याद दिलाना चाहता हूं। 2018 में इसी भवन का लोकार्पण करते हुए मैंने कहा था कि कार्यालय हमारी कर्मभूमि है, लेकिन भारत की सीमा ही हमारे कार्यों की सीमा है। हमें इस भवन से ऊर्जा लेकर संपूर्ण भारत की सीमा को ही अपना कार्यक्षेत्र बनाना है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है आप सब इसी तपस्या के साथ देश के सपनों को साकार करते रहेंगे। जो सपना हमने पहले देखा था उसे हम आज पूरा होता देख रहे हैं। जो सपना हम आज देख रहे हैं वो भविष्य में पूरा होकर रहेगा। इसी विश्वास के साथ आज के इस मंगल अवसर पर और नवरात्रि के पावन त्योहारों के बीच मैं आप सबको, देशवासियों को अनेक अनेक शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। भारत माता की, भारत माता की, भारत माता की। वंदे 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 मातरम।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big attack on the opposition, especially the Congress party. He described the party as a party of dynasty, dangal and dishonesty. Those were the charges against the Congress party. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ferocious attack on the Congress, and he said as the nation grows, as India progresses, there are powers both outside and within the country that are out to destabilize India, that's actually on the road to power. This was Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing his party leaders and cadre at the BJP headquarters. And the Prime Minister targeted the Congress in particular and the opposition in general. He reminded the Congress of the 1984 anti-Sikh riots. He called it genocide. He said the BJP is not a party of dynasts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big attack on the Congress party and on combined opposition. He said this is the biggest offensive that has ever been mounted against the corrupt, against institutionalized corruption, and he gave instances and details of how cases were being filed under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, against Prevention of Corruption Act. If properties worth a couple of thousand crore were initially recovered, he said under PMLA, under Congress government between 2004 and 14, property worth 5,000 crore had been seized. Under PMLA, under BJP government or NDA between 2014 and 22, property worth 1,10,000 crore had been recovered by the government. He also gave more details. Let's quickly listen in to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's stinging attack on the opposition.
राशि में जो हुआ, देश कभी भी उस काले पृष्ठ को भूल नहीं सकती है। और उसके बाद जो चुनाव हुआ, कांग्रेस को ऐतिहासिक बहुमत मिला था। भावनाओं से भरा हुआ वो माहौल, एक इमोशनली चार्ज एटमॉस्फियर, और उस आंधी में हम भी लगभग पूरी तरह से खत्म हो गए थे, लेकिन हम हताश नहीं हुए। हम निराश नहीं हुए। हमने किसी और में दोष ढूंढने की कोशिश नहीं की। आरोप प्रत्यारोप के चक्कर में हम नहीं पड़े। हम चले गए फिर एक बार जनता जनार्दन के बीच। आज भारत को रोकने के लिए हमारी इस नींव पर चोट की जा रही है, संवैधानिक संस्थाओं पर प्रहार किया जा रहा है, उन्हें बदनाम करने का अभियान छेड़ा जा रहा है, उनकी क्रेडिबिलिटी, उनकी विश्वसनीयता खत्म करने की साजिश की जा रही है। जो लोग भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त हैं, उन पर जब एजेंसियां कार्रवाई करती हैं तो एजेंसियों पर हमला किया जाता है। जब कोर्ट कोई फैसला सुनाता है तो कोर्ट पर सवाल उठाए जाते हैं, न्यायिक प्रणाली पर हमले होते हैं।
So you heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi there. He's drawing parallels when the BJP was down to 2 post 1984 Indira Gandhi's assassination and the elections that were held after that to the situation today and how Congress is reacting today. We are getting the first reaction of Rajiv Shukla. Let's quickly cut across and listen in.
कहा है कि भ्रष्टाचारी बचाओ आंदोलन निकाल रही है कांग्रेस पार्टी।
भ्रष्टाचार के तो आरोपी कांग्रेस लगा रही है, जिसका जवाब कोई नहीं मिल रहा, तो बचाव कहां से हो गया? तो भ्रष्टाचार बचाने के आरोप तो उनके ऊपर लग रहा है, भाजपा पे।
आपके लोगों को डिटेन कर लिया जाता है, प्रोटेस्ट नहीं करने दिया जाता है।
अब विरोध पे भी रोक लग गई है, संसद में भी रोक, विरोध पे भी लोग, विपक्ष करे तो करे क्या?
थैंक यू हमसे बात करने के लिए।
I want to quickly bring in India Today's Shiv Arur for more on this. We'll also cut across to the BJP headquarters in a moment. Aishwarya Paliwal joins us from there. Shiv, the Prime Minister's attack stinging and targeted, and he's drawing parallels. When the BJP was down to just 2 members of parliament in the 1984 elections after Indira Gandhi's assassination, the BJP did not target institutions of our country. The Prime Minister says they went down to the drawing board once again, went out to the cadre, went out to the people, and then came back to win a historic 303 in 2019. This is an attack on the Congress that's targeting institutions in our country, according to the Prime Minister, Shiv.
Gaurav, this is probably the most comprehensive, full-rounded attack that the Prime Minister has made so far. It is easily his most aggressive speech so far in 2023, and the BJP is going to hope that this entire speech echoes all the way to 2024. Now, remember the multiple, platforms through which the Prime Minister, the BJP are being attacked. Whether it is Adani, whether it is democracy in danger, whether it is parliament, whether it is corruption, whether it is the 2002 riots, all of these things, have become part of this backhand, this big comprehensive reply from the Prime Minister. He's invoked dynasty. He's invoked, what he calls a Bhrashtachar Bachao Abhiyan, which is, by far the biggest attack on the opposition, given that, the platform of Adani or Modani, as they call it, is the biggest attack that they're mounting against the Prime Minister personally at this point of time. He's talked about the 1984 riots. He's talked about, how the opposition is trying to defame institutions that are only doing their job. And remember, the Prime Minister and the BJP have been under constant attack on, the ED, CBI, etc. So I think what the Prime Minister has basically done over 40 minutes, Gaurav, is pick up every one of those barbs and provide this sort of full, well-rounded response from all sides, with typical aggression, taking examples, invoking Modi teri kabr khudegi and things like that, talking about how the Congress wanted to put him in jail, and and providing what I think is going to be a template for the road to 2024. Think about it, Gaurav, every single aspect or attack that has been taken up against the Prime Minister personally and the BJP and government in general over the last 3 to 4 months have all been encompassed in this one comprehensive reply that has lasted 40 minutes. So the huge number of takeaways in this speech.
Very interesting. You should point out that this is the template, and he's talking to his party rank and file, Aishwarya. This is the message perhaps the BJP wants to put out. And give me a moment, Aishwarya, before I come to you. I have Supriya Srinath of the Congress party joining me on the broadcast. Supriya Srinath, the Prime Minister says that the biggest attack on corruption is taking place right now, and that is why forces inimical to India, both outside and inside, are uniting to target the government.
A rattled Prime Minister is out there to protect the man whose alliances, whose allegiance, whose relationship with the Prime Minister is in question, a man who's being questioned by global agencies, a man who's saddled with corruption charges. His name is Gautam Adani, Mr. Modi's good friend. Mr. Modi has to tell the country today, why is he not ordering a probe into allegations that saddle Gautam Adani? Mr. Modi has to answer, why does he his government, his ministers and his MPs are out to defend Gautam Adani, are out to defend Nirav Modi, are out to defend Lalit Modi and Mr. Modi's Mehul Bhai. Mr. Modi can no longer distract this nation because Mr. Modi is inimical to India's democracy. Mr. Modi is consistently weakening democratic powers in India. He's undermining institutions, and his only sole purpose right now seems to be to save Adani at any cost. And he's
Supriya Srinath,
sacrifice. Now, let me finish. He's even willing to sacrifice a democracy and institutions like Parliament for it. So he should be the last person talking on democracy and on corruption.
The fact that the Prime Minister mentions that because there is action against corruption, and he says it's the biggest action on corruption, that the corrupt are getting together and targeting institutions of this country like the Parliament, like courts, like institutions that are acting against the corrupt, ma'am.
Mr. Gaurav Sawant, India's Parliament is not being able to function because the ruling government, and this is unprecedented in 75 years since Indian independence, it is the ruling government which is not allowing Parliament to function. It is the ruling government running away from setting up a JPC because they want to defend Adani. It's the ruling government that's undermining institutions like the Supreme Court when the law minister says ex-judges are anti-Indian. It's the ruling government that has put every democratic institution at stake for Mr. Adani. So they should shut up and actually probe a JPC, set up agencies, get these agencies to probe allegations that surround Mr. Adani, because everything else that they say is hollow, is hypocritical, and is double speak. Thank you. I've got to go.
Supriya Srinath of the Congress Party for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. I want to bring in Aishwarya Paliwal. Aishwarya, this speech of the Prime Minister may have been to his cadre, but this is the template, as Shiv was pointing out, for the party rank and file, not just for Karnataka elections. And he's talking about inroads that the party is making, whether in Karnataka, he says we are the single largest party, his party is the single largest party there, but in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. But there's an interesting point. When he targets the opposition, Aishwarya, he says in the Congress era, in the banks were looted to a tune of 22,000 crore, and he says in his government they've been able to recover properties worth 20,000 crore. He talks about PMLA cases, Prevention of Corruption Act cases, and his point is he's being targeted because he's targeting corruption, Aishwarya.
Well, Gaurav, one thing that the Prime Minister has done is to make sure that there is a lot of emotion amongst those who are, who work for the Bharatiya Janata Party. He spoke about the fact that this is a party which has really come up from the ground. And that's the reason why we are seeing the kind of visuals, Gaurav, that you see right behind me, the kind of support that Prime Minister, can see, the number of people who at the moment are now waiting for the Prime Minister to step out, the car of Prime Minister right there. All these things obviously point towards the fact that there is a big emotional appeal that the Prime Minister spoke about. He also spoke about corruption, because that's something that all the opposition parties at the moment are blaming the Prime Minister of indulging in. All the opposition parties, 17, 18 parties, we have been seeing how they have been wearing black and talking about the fact that it is the Prime Minister who's indulging in corruption, and Prime Minister has given it back and said, it is not me, not my party. In fact, it is the Congress and all the other parties who have been indulging in corruption over the past 70 years. And now they are pointing fingers at me because I'm the one who's now trying to clean up the system. And that's the reason, Gaurav, for the visuals that you see right behind me. We are expecting the Prime Minister to leave the premise in just a couple of minutes from now. Most of the leaders, most of the top BJP leaders, Gaurav, now making their way out. Definitely, this is the road, the big road for the big 2024 elections. Gaurav.
Road to 2024 that Shiv actually goes through Karnataka first and a number of other elections, and the Prime Minister spoke of the template of the Northeast, and this is something that the Prime Minister talked about even at the India Today conclave, Shiv, where he says it's the Northeast that shows his Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas ideology, where the government may be in power the BJP may be in power in 3 states, but also is in power in 2 other states in a place which isn't Hindu dominated, Shiv.
That's right. Gaurav, taking all of these examples, and we all know that the Prime Minister loves taking the example of the Northeast, not only because it's one of his pet topics, but also because, his political investment of capital in the Northeast over the last 9 years has borne amazing fruit for the BJP in the first set of elections of 2023. The Prime Minister is keenly aware of that, and he also knows that if the BJP, with all its political investments in that area, has been able to reap those political benefits, then the sky is proverbially the limit. And that's one of the reasons why going into Karnataka, where, remember, perceptionally speaking, the BJP is seen to be on the back foot. But what the Prime Minister is signaling here, not only with his words, but also by his actions in the multiple visits to Karnataka recently and the multiple, infrastructure projects that have been inaugurated, is signaling that the BJP continues to be as battle ready as possible. Very important that you noted, Gaurav, that this speech is not only to the BJP leadership and to its karyakartas, but also an open message to the opposition. Because remember, the opposition has been getting a lot of media traction because of the issues it's been raising, what's been happening in Parliament, what's been happening outside Parliament. Few people would have missed the fact that while the Prime Minister was speaking, there was a torch rally outside Red Fort where certain opposition leaders, were being removed from there and detained as well. So the Prime Minister is basically trying to say this is a union of frustrated parties that have not been able to reach their objectives because of the success of the BJP, and that success is not going to stop this year. That was the basic message that the Prime Minister was putting out, and he also basically said that the frustration of those parties is manifesting itself in this smear campaign against institutions, a smear campaign against the government. Having said that, the Prime Minister knows very well that each of his speeches is also politically active, Gaurav. Every one of his speeches will go out into the general public. It's not just about the Karyakartas. As you rightly said, it's also very much about Karnataka.
It's about Karnataka. It's setting up the template. But very interesting, when the Prime Minister Aishwarya says, and Shiv, I'll come back to you in just a moment on the same point, hostile forces are getting together both outside and inside the country. This country, India, the Prime Minister has repeatedly said, we are the mother of democracy, the strongest amongst the strongest democracies in the world. We have strong foundations, but constitutional bodies are being targeted. Their credibility is being targeted, whether it's the agencies that take action against the corrupt or courts when they deliver verdicts, Aishwarya. So this is a very targeted attack on the opposition that's saying agencies are an extension of the BJP.
Well, Gaurav, there's a very old saying, killing two birds with one stone. But I think what the Prime Minister really tried to do in the past 40 minutes was to make sure he killed many birds using one stone. What he spoke about the fact, and that's what the BJP also was speaking about when Rahul Gandhi spoke in the UK, was the fact that if you have a problem, come on the floor and speak on the floor. Do not try to tarnish the image of the country in the UK on foreign soil. And that's exactly what the Prime Minister has also said, that there are many forces at play, not just the opposition parties, also many, foreign hand also is something that the Prime Minister spoke about, and that's what the BJP also has been accusing Rahul Gandhi of doing. The party obviously saying that if the opposition has a lot of issues, they need to raise it on the floor of the parliament and not go abroad and then speak about those issues. So the Prime Minister giving a very clear signal, and also, speaking about the fact that this is a party. Right, Gaurav?
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. The Prime Minister says if you have to speak in Parliament. But that's the point that Supriya Srinath was raising, Shiv. When Supriya Srinath says the government doesn't permit the Parliament, and that's the point, that they're not permitting the Parliament to function. But Shiv, targeted attack on India from within and outside. And this is one narrative that the government is taking forward, a systematic attack being mounted on India by forces outside and within.
Gaurav, even the Congress, I'm sure, despite all the bluster and despite all the defenses of what Rahul Gandhi did in the UK, they know that a very emotive Lakshman Rekha was crossed, and it's going to be difficult to actually defend it. Political debates on television are one thing, but in the public view, I think there is a sense of unanimity that Rahul Gandhi did something in the UK that is seen to be inappropriate, which is practically invoke outside intervention of some kind. He didn't use the word intervene, but he basically said, what are you guys doing, the defenders of democracy, which is almost like saying, you should be taking some action because democracy is allegedly dying in India. The BJP is clearly not going to let that issue go, Gaurav, because they know that it has emotive capital. They know that it's an issue that has gone viral on social media, and it's something that Indians easily associate with because of especially because of our past, and therefore the evaporation of the impact perhaps of the Bharat Jodo Yatra, plus the fact that Rahul Gandhi appears to be lurching from one controversy to the other. First, the UK issue. Yesterday he invoked Savarkar also. That's become a separate issue, and has opened another front for the Congress party. All of this is advantage BJP because it suits their purpose on multiple levels. A, it keeps Rahul Gandhi in the headlines, which suits the BJP as they claim, yes. Gaurav. B, it affects opposition unity. That also helps the BJP. C, it continues to keep the spotlight on the Congress at a time when its ship is not really that strong. Therefore, as Aishwarya said, it's actually killing many birds with one stone. The Prime Minister has tactfully picked each one of these issues and attacked them, in just one 40-minute speech. So I think we should all expect to hear many more of these speeches. Remember, the Congress party has planned to begin a chain of press conferences starting tomorrow in different parts of the country. I don't think we have reason to believe that there will not be similar BJP press conferences across this coalition of the corrupt that he has painted the opposition as. I think that's going to have some resonance going in. So the opposition wants to fight on the, corruption plank. The Prime Minister has backhanded it, saying, you guys are the coalition of the corrupt, so why will you not attack me on this issue?
And stay with me for a moment. Let's listen into Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he says that it is actually corruption that's eating this country from within like termites. Listen in.
आज भारत को रोकने के लिए हमारी इस नींव पर चोट की जा रही है, संवैधानिक संस्थाओं पर प्रहार किया जा रहा है, उन्हें बदनाम करने का अभियान छेड़ा जा रहा है, उनकी क्रेडिबिलिटी, उनकी विश्वसनीयता खत्म करने की साजिश की जा रही है। जो लोग भ्रष्टाचार में लिप्त हैं, उन पर जब एजेंसियां कार्रवाई करती हैं तो एजेंसियों पर हमला किया जाता है। जब कोर्ट कोई फैसला सुनाता है तो कोर्ट पर सवाल उठाए जाते हैं, न्यायिक प्रणाली पर हमले होते हैं। पिछले 9 वर्षों में भाजपा सरकार ने 1,10,000 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा की संपत्ति जब्त की है। पहले के मुकाबले 2 गुने से ज्यादा केस रिकॉर्ड किए गए हैं और 15 गुना ज्यादा लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है। कांग्रेस शासन के दौरान बैंकों को जमकर के लूटा, बैंकों का करीब 22,000 करोड़ रुपए का नुकसान करके ये लोग विदेश भाग गए। आज भाजपा सरकार ने इन लोगों की करीब करीब 20,000 करोड़ रुपए की संपत्ति जब्त करवा दी है।
So has the Prime Minister set the template? It's the battle of the narratives and we'll get you all sides of the story. A quick break. Rajdeep Sardesai comes up next on the other side of a quick break with the news today. Stay with us.
टाइमिंग की बात करते हैं तो बहुत सारे लोग टाइमिंग, किसी भी एक्शन को टाइमिंग से जोड़ते हैं कि ये फेयर था या नहीं फेयर था। जैसे मान लीजिए बीबीसी ने सरकार के खिलाफ कोई डॉक्यूमेंट्री दिखा दी तो कुछ हफ्तों के बाद उनके ऊपर आईटी की कार्रवाई हो गई।
नहीं, मैं तो डॉक्यूमेंट्री के टाइमिंग पर सवाल उठाता हूँ। ये पूरी घटना 2002 की है, चुनाव है 2024 में, आप 2023 में देखा, तो आप इसके टाइमिंग की क्यों बात नहीं कर रहे हो भाई? और जहां तक ये इनकम टैक्स के टाइमिंग की बात है, मैंने भी पूछा किसी को, ये 3 साल से इनके साथ कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस हो रहा है। अब कोई अपने आप को कानून से ऊपर मानेगा तो कोई नहीं है कानून के ऊपर, सबने कानून के हिसाब से चलना पड़ेगा और आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा।
Arnab, after Jio's telecom price wars, what's the Reliance game plan in the FMCG space?
Given the kind of action that is happening in the market, because Reliance has already invested over $1.1 billion in acquisition of brands and partnerships as per a recent report, and it is expected by Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan that it is going to invest another $4 billion in over the next 3 to 5 years, which is equivalent to 33,000 crore in today's currency terms. So that is a significant investment that they are making, and market competitors in the market like other leading players, FMCG players, are obviously taking note. Like for example, very recently, Mr. Varun Bedi has said that he is closely watching the development that Reliance and the new products that are coming up from the behemoth. And secondly, if you look at the Reliance's game plan, they have not only purchased new brands or launched new products, but they have also hired some of the key industry veterans. Like for example, they have hired Mr. K. Krishnakumar to head their beverages portfolio, which now includes Campa Cola, a well-known brand from 1970s and 80s. So, of course, industry competitors like HUL and others are obviously watching the developments very closely, and given the kind of price that Reliance is offering in competition to these leading multinationals, of course, there could be some price cuts by them as well, the industry insiders tell us. And if you notice that HUL, after cutting pack sizes significantly over the last 2 years due to inflation, they have now started to increase their pack sizes in terms of grammage. They have started to increase the size of their packs at the same rate of late in the last one and a half months.
Junior NTR's upcoming project NTR 30 has been finally launched, and the opening ceremony took place in Hyderabad in the presence of the cast and crew. Celebrities like S.S. Rajamouli, Prashant Neel, director Kortala Siva, female lead Janhvi Kapoor and music composer Anirudh Ravichandar were also part of the event. This will also mark Janhvi's Telugu debut opposite Junior NTR. The first clap for the film was performed by RRR filmmaker S.S. Rajamouli. The camera was switched on by Kortala Siva, while Prashant Neel oversaw the first shot. For the Mahurat ceremony, Junior NTR kept it simple and casual in white, whereas Janhvi went all desi in a green Kanjivaram sari. Junior NTR, who's basking in the success of his last film RRR, returned to India after attending the 95th Academy Awards and was mobbed by a sea of fans at the Hyderabad airport. Not long ago, the song from RRR, Natu Natu, had scripted history by becoming the first Indian song to win the Oscars, and Junior NTR turned heads with his Gaurav Gupta customized ensemble on the red carpet. Janhvi Kapoor, on the other hand, was last seen in Milli, and now apart from NTR 30, she also has Bawal and Mr. and Mrs. Mahi in her kitty.
Let's take a look at the weather report across the major cities this evening. Thiruvananthapuram is at 33 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 56. Mumbai is at 31 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 109. Panaji is at 32 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 82. Ahmedabad is at 34 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 81. Bhopal is at 33 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 59. Jaipur is at 31 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 110. Delhi is at 30 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 151. Srinagar is at 20 degrees Celsius with AQI being 36. Lucknow is at 32 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 142. Patna is at 35 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 139. Kolkata is at 34 degrees with an AQI of 129. Hyderabad is at 36 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 110. Bangalore is at 33 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 96. Chennai is at 33 degrees Celsius with an AQI of 56. This is all we have for you in this segment. Hope wherever you are, you find favorable weather around you. Keep watching India Today for all the weather updates with me, AI Sana, all through the day.
Co-presented by Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist. Co-presented by Panasonic, create today, enrich tomorrow. Co-presented by JK Tyre Ranger Series, stay wild at heart.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, Tuesday night. And the big story is coming from Prime Minister Modi attempting to set the terms of the debate. Coalition of the corrupt is what he calls the opposition versus the BJP. Mission 2024, is that the terms of the debate being attempted by the Prime Minister? We'll try and raise that question tonight. But first, the 9 headlines at 9. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hits back at his critics, slams the Congress as institutions being maligned because corruption being uprooted, accuses the opposition of running a Bhrashtachari Bachao campaign, alleges the Congress plotted to put him in jail. As the disqualification showdown over Rahul Gandhi gets bigger, Congress protests across the national capital, top leaders detained. Congress says Satyagraha has scared the dictators. Tomorrow, the Congress will organize press conferences across the country. Opposition likely to move a no-confidence motion in the Lok Sabha against Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla over Rahul Gandhi's disqualification. 50 MPs could move no-trust motion. Savarkar comment divides Congress allies after Shiv Sena. Now Sharad Pawar also warns Rahul against targeting Savarkar. Sources say Rahul Gandhi has promised to stay away from the Savarkar issue for now. Don Atiq Ahmed gets his first conviction in 17 years in 2006 Prayagraj abduction case. The former MP asked to move back to Sabarmati jail. Atiq's brother Ashraf and 7 others are acquitted. Madras High Court settles Jayalalitha legacy war, dismisses O. Paneerselvam plea. State set for EPS to be AIDMK leader. 10 days on, manhunt for Amritpal still on the run. Video from March 21st shows the fugitive Khalistani leader and aide Pappal Preet in East Delhi. CBI's fresh move to bring back fugitive and PNB scam accused Mehul Choksi. Agency says it will use a new charge sheet